We are live, coming here with another Stir the Pod podcast show. I'm your host, Alex, and tonight I'm joined by Andy. Andy, how are we doing tonight?
What up? What up?
And we are not yet joined by Trevor. We'll see if he joins us tonight. I think he's been on past 2 weeks giving these big rants about, everybody, like when Andy missed a week, and he went on this big rant about not missing an episode and all of this. So kind of reminds me of I think it last season when Fezzy went home and they played Karma Chameleon as he was like walking out. That's what it kind of reminds me of. It's a 2-man show right now. It might change to a 3-man. We'll see if he joins us. But overall thoughts on tonight's episode. What we think? Episode 15. It's a big number.
Jeez. Well, yeah, first and foremost, Trev, I mean, he was giving me so much shit. And then for him to pull this is just unbelievable. Fessy to a T. But I did really like the episode. I'm curious to know your thoughts. I think every time it's a male elimination and there's a lot of heads on the chopping block, it just makes for a good episode. I think we got that tonight. Like the daily, it was a good old-fashioned headbanger. Elimination was good and some good drama sprinkled throughout. So I was all for it, and I was watching college basketball left and right too, and I was still locked in on Tej and Co.
Well, and let's get out in front of that too. Two things that are kind of related. But first, if you guys haven't seen the Stir the Pod bet of the night, tonight it is Indiana basketball -5, or whenever you were able to get the line. And so that's our bet. Obviously, it's going on right now, so we might be a little distracted during this recap, but we're powering through it. It'll probably be a little shorter one. But my thoughts on the episode too, I liked it. I really think the back 9 of it kind of picked it up a little bit. I was ready to say about like halfway, maybe even an hour of the way through. I was ready to say that it was kind of like a move the chains episode. Like it wasn't bad. It was just like, all right, we're doing it. We're, growing through the motions. But I did think the elimination was really interesting and really intense and close and all of that. Kind of picked it up a few notches. The challenge itself, I thought, was kind of a shit show, but at the same time, still entertaining. So I like that. Overall, yeah, I mean, I would say when we're fucking 15 episodes deep and watching college basketball at the same time, to get a good episode, I think we kind of got as much as we could ask for.
Agreed. I like it.
So we start the episode, and the streak is finally it's back. Last week, I can't keep up with what happened last week, but last week, whoever won the elimination did not walk in first. I think it was Logan.
Yeah, he gave the hezzy hey.
Yeah, he gave the hezzy hey, held the door open. It's their culture, and so he let Ashley in first. But I think tonight we got the streak back. Amanda was first, and then I know we say it every other episode or so. We say that we didn't really get a whole lot before the challenge, but I feel like tonight we really did not get anything before the challenge.
Was there anything?
They spent like a good 3 minutes on like, oh, Amanda switched teams and like just hammering in that storyline as if we didn't watch the episode last week. And then they went to CT and Tori talking about their little plan, which kind of comes up later on. But like really, there was just not anything that happened before the episode.
There was nothing at all. Now that you say that, I actually like thinking nothing happened. There was literally just that CT Tori conversation. By the way, I don't know if you picked up on this, but that whole conversation was hilarious because those two went talk to each other, and CT was the one who went up to Tori to talk to her, laid out this whole plan of blue and pink teaming together to take out green. And then it cut to a confessional of Tori after the conversation was done. And Tori was like, yeah, I just went up to CT and I was like, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to team up. We're going to take down green, and then we're going to be good to go. It's like we just watched, and that is not how it happened.
Well, that's like I think some of our listeners too have been listening to the podcast that Bananas has this season, and he based on like with the ringer, and he basically says like once an episode, he kind of comments on CT's game, obviously because he's on the season and still on, and he basically says that like what you just described, like what we saw tonight, is exactly CT's game, and how he's so fucking good at it is like, and this is like Bananas describing it, but he's like, CT will come up to you with an idea and say like, here's what we're going to do, here's the plan and all of that. And then by the end of the conversation, you'll think that it's your idea. So when it gets out to the whole house, to the whole group, that, you know, you're the one taking credit for it. And then CT is just kind of laying in the background. And that was a perfect example of it.
And it was executed flawlessly today because Tori got so much shit for everything and CT was under the radar. Once everything happened and once it was very clear there was alliances forming, no one batted an eye at CT. It was all eyes on Tori.
Yeah, he does it again.
The GOAT.
So, I mean, like we said, there's nothing else from before the challenge. So let's get right into the challenge. It was kind of a three-way hall brawl. You know, the teams were lopsided a little bit. I think it was 3 people against 4 people against 6 people. So obviously, like going into this, it was kind of pink team and blue team were going to go against the green team, which like this actual challenge led for something like that to be pulled off. Some of the ones we've seen in the past, not so much, but tonight they definitely could have done it. And it kind of went all over the place. So I guess before we kind of get into, you know, how it all played out and all the screaming and the winners and all that, what did we think of just what this challenge was, having like a 3-way thing where it's like a hall brawl down, dug under, and you just have to basically take, I think it was you took something from another team, and once that team was done, they were done. And then, or actually, no, sorry, it was once you got like 20 on your side, but you could take the 20 from either team. But it was, you know, all rooted in a hall brawl. So what do we think of that?
I liked it. I mean, it gave me flashbacks of obviously in my mind, one of the best eliminations ever with CT and Adam. And I love it. The 3 was an interesting dynamic. We saw some big hits, which is always great in a scenario like this, but because it was kind of diagonal, it wasn't literally just like head on. And it wasn't, you didn't get the cross path, like getting T-boned, but I thought it was good. Like for a daily elimination, I was a big fan, but obviously like in the way it was set up where like you had to get 20 little sticks of dynamite to win, you kind of had to form an alliance. Like if that conversation hadn't happened, if there was no alliance going into this thing would have lasted forever just because like everyone could have just kept taking everyone's sticks and it literally would just go and go and go. So like there had to be an alliance or a deal cut or else this would have lasted forever.
Yeah. And before I give, I agree. And before I give some of my thoughts on tonight's challenge, looks like we are joined by a third member of the pod tonight, coming in a little late from the Redemption House. I mean, Trev, what do we got to say about that?
Honestly, hand up. It's on me tonight. Did not watch tonight's episode, but I am live with you guys. Full spoilers. Missed tonight's episode. Already don't even need to get to me for LVP. LVP is myself tonight. Hand up, my fault. So hopefully tonight was a great episode.
Trev, I remember you saying something about people not like being all in for the podcast and not being all in on the challenge. Any thoughts on that? Because I'm pretty sure those words came out of your mouth.
Oh, absolutely. It has. As you can tell, Trev is still here, still recording a podcast, hasn't. This is my first technically missed episode in how many years, Andy? So before you can see, here's the thing, folks. Andy's talking like he's like one of these like veterans like on the season. Like he's basically talking like Amanda right now, trying to earn her stripes and say all that. When me and Alex are the backbone of the Stir the Pod, and he's done shit. So
you were compared to Fezzy. You were compared to Fezzy. You go on and on and on and on talking shit about
reasoning. You come at me, and I'm just like,
And
I
then
mean,
you don't even watch
Alex
the
has done
episode.
over 100 and some episodes.
You don't
Like,
even watch the episode.
we have our own right. And to counteract your thing, I'm still up here. You missed 4 episodes this season or whatever, 3 episodes, 4 episodes or whatever. Didn't even show up for. So at least I'm here. I'm in for the fans. Okay, Squid, Boogie Brown. Love to see the chat
This is exactly
going.
how you play the game. This is exactly how you play the game, Trev. You always stab someone in the back. You're always looking to play your next snake move. You would know what that'd be in reference to if you watched the episode. This is just a classic you move.
But I'm here, Andy. At the end of the day, that's how much I care about Stir the Pod. Haven't seen a second of the episode tonight, but I'm still here supporting you guys, still supporting the chat, supporting the show. It's not like I just go out with my coworkers, even though I was at a working event and, I just forget about Stir the Pod. So I'm still here.
Interesting move.
All right. So what I thought about the challenge is I liked it. A few takeaways. One, I don't know if anybody else caught this, but we had tonight's honorary re-explain the rules to us person was Big T, and they did the fucking side by side like a weather forecast of like the thing behind us, like as she was like describing each step of the challenge. So I think at this point they know like that they've placed in a confessional like that, and they're just kind of trolling us with it. That was one takeaway. I think overall it was a good challenge. Did Nani play in this challenge? I know that's kind of random, but like, because it was weird because you had teams that, like for example, blue team only had one girl, blue team only had 2 guys, whereas like the numbers were kind of all mixed up. So you would think that like you just rotated each time, but like I don't know if I ever saw Nani go down. And for the green team guys, there was definitely in the 3rd round, Josh went down back to back. Like Josh went down, he didn't tag out for Devin or Manuel, who at least had 3 different pronunciations of his name tonight. He didn't tag out. So it was like weird because like you had multiple people on your team, but you weren't required to rotate. I don't think we saw Nani go at all.
She did go once, and the only reason I know that is because I remember watching the Nani cam. It showed a clip of her cam and what she was showing. That's the only reason I know that Nani went. She probably only went one time, whereas Emmy had to go every single time because she was the only girl on her team.
Yeah.
Good for Emmy.
So first round is where it kind of just all blows up in terms of the blue team and pink team. It was basically Kyle went to the wrong side and he went for the blue team instead of the green team. And then they end that round. I guess there must have been some sort of time limit on each round, like guys heat, girls heat, and maybe 10 minutes. I don't know if it was less than that. But they do the first round and Kyle just, completely fucks it up. And I think this is the second time this season where we saw basically the exact same thing where the people that Kyle was working with at the time, I think early on it was like, the 8 veteran pairs or whatever. And tonight it was his pink team of 4 people. But it was, they tell him to do this one thing, this is the plan, and he just does completely opposite. And then that leads into the whole shit show of everybody yelling at each other from, across the triangle.
Yes. I mean, Kyle is just an idiot. I don't know if he's colorblind. I have very little patience for people who are colorblind. But, I mean, you have to just – I don't know why he's trying to pull a move. I don't know why he's trying to pull a move mid-challenge when everything's going well, because if he didn't, then he would have been safe. It was so stupid. I thought it was the dumbest thing he could have possibly done.
Yeah, it was bad, and then it kind of like shifted, and like somehow Tori was the one yelling the most after that first round. And I tweeted about it. Like my main takeaway from this part of the challenge was just like, does everybody does this cast in particular get so butthurt about fucking everything? Like, it's not just like the political moves of like, oh, you're taking my spot on this team. Like, oh, you're going to vote me in, which they've been crying about for the past 3 months. Now, tonight we saw, like, oh, go, I'm going to run down there. Like, you better go against me, blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't want this smoke. And it was just just so frustrating. And I think that, I don't know, it was just a shit show. Like I said, you had Tori yelling. CT was even a big one, which is like rare for him. Kyle and Josh were yelling at each other before the guys round went again. And this is just like, I guess my final thought on the challenge was that, like, I liked what it was. I think it's just going to have a bad taste in my mouth because of the way the cast members all reacted to it, I guess.
I think that's a perfect way to put it.
So then they go to the last round. Blue team wins. And so blue team wins. I mean, that's a fucking impressive win for them, just to be outnumbered that much. Like we said before, Emmy was basically going nonstop in the girls' heat. I think was it guys' heat, girls' heat, guys' heat, girls' heat? Like there's two of each, right? So Emmy kind of walks it off. She carries the load for her team. Blue team wins, CT, Logan, and Emmy. And then that kind of takes us right into going back at the house. So now at this point, it's basically like, I know we kind of joked about before that there wasn't a whole lot before the challenge. There was definitely some stuff after the challenge. It was just all the same stuff related to the challenge. Like people were, trying to make Tori cry, trying to make Kyle feel bad about himself, like Kyle apologizing, all that. We didn't get a scene out at the club. We didn't get any sort of party. So at this, from the time the challenge ended to the time the elimination started, I felt like it wasn't bad necessarily. There just wasn't a whole lot going on.
Yeah, I actually didn't even realize that they didn't go to the club at all, which I think is a testament of how boring and ineffective the club really is. It's awful.
Like not going to the club is basically has the same effect as going to the club.
Yes. And club or no club, I just want to see good TV. Screw me.
How was the pacing with this then? If there was no club, did it seem like it was fast, or did it take up most of the time?
It was, I think it was pretty quick, just from the standpoint of, I feel like the elimination maybe took a few minutes longer than usual, but it definitely started just like time-wise, like quicker than it usually does. Like I feel like the elimination comes on our screen with maybe 20, 15 minutes left. I feel like tonight it was like 25, 23. I feel like it went very quick, but it didn't necessarily feel rushed. I don't know. Maybe the challenge just took longer than usual. I didn't think the pacing was too bad, even though we didn't get a whole lot of content between challenge and elimination. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the same. It was almost one of those things where, because the daily ended with so much drama, it just felt like a carryover into the house. Like it didn't feel like it was challenge, okay, done, club / house, okay, done, deliberation. It was just like all of it was so blended together that I thought it flowed really nicely for that reason, even though it was annoying because during the daily everyone was bitching and moaning, but it led the whole pacing and transition of the show to be pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. And so the blue team wins. And so just kind of pause and take a step back of where we're at right now. So we have 5, because it's a guys' day, we have 5 guys that are available, which are the 3 from the green team, Josh, Devin, and Manuel, and then Kyle and Nelly. And I mean, I think it was kind of a foregone conclusion, like a pretty foregone conclusion that the agency, the Troika vote, was going to be Kyle, just from, I don't know, mainly because he was the one that fucked up the challenge. I mean, they kind of threw around the rookie's name because he was a rookie, but I think they really were going for Kyle. And in the deliberation, they kind of all went around and said their little speeches, and Kyle did his classic threat that they do now of like, oh, if you pick me, I'm going to invade your team, which like anybody can fucking say. And so they go around, and then Kyle is the vote. And then from that point, you kind of, he was saying it even before the deliberation to CT and all that. he basically said, like, if Kyle was the vote, which he is, which was what we're at now, Kyle's the vote. There's 4 options to choose from. He's not going to choose Devin just because that's his, best friend in the house. They're all best friends. But Devin's his best friend in the house. And then I guess he wasn't going to pick Nelly just because they were on the same team and they're kind of riding together, I guess, now. And so that left him Josh and Emmanuel. And I think he said there was a 70% chance it was going to be Emmanuel, 30% chance Josh. We get to the elimination. We see what it is. And Kyle calls down Josh. So, I mean, Kyle calls down Josh for that elimination. I think just seeing what it was, I think that was the smart choice. I feel like Emmanuel could have done damage in that one tonight. So what do we think about the decision to call in Josh as opposed to Emmanuel or anybody else, and then kind of what the elimination was?
Well, I mean, all you got to say is it's the goof. I mean, why would you not throw him in? I mean, I think out of any elimination, you would rather go against him than almost anybody else, right? I mean, people forget is the ball elimination last year. Remember how long it was for him to toss that ball through the glass or whatever? God, it was like Teach was just like checking his watch like 50 times. Like, all right, come on, guys. I thought it was about to be like a Make-A-Wish where they would have to like literally cut it in half or something. But I mean, I'd go against Josh in almost any elimination. He literally lost in a rope battle to a guy with one hand.
Well, and people forget that Kyle has beaten Josh before.
Yeah, exactly. So why would you not go against someone you've beaten? And on top of that, you're already in that opponent's head. Like if like realistically, Josh knows, I lost to Kyle before, you might as well go for him again.
Well, and I think you're right about the challenge itself. I mean, and I think the 70-30 was actually pretty accurate, but in a challenge that's centered around balance, or at least that looks like it's centered around balance, why would you not pick the Michelin Man? Like, I mean, that's just an absolute no-brainer. And Emmanuel seems like he's got some really good balance. So, like, picking him, I think, is a wrong choice in general. So, picking the goof was a no-brainer. And even though, like, the challenge itself or the elimination itself wasn't exactly like what it looked like from our perspective and from Kyle's, I mean, seeing the goof try to jump off that platform, I mean, whenever he tries to do anything remotely athletic, he just looks like an idiot. So Kyle should feel confident that he made the right pick and had the result he was looking for.
Now, let me go this route with you. Obviously, like I said before, I did watch tonight's episode. How many times did Josh say during this elimination, like, it just didn't come, like, I was just like lost all focus and everything like that. And he started like panicking in his confessionals and literally you could see it on his face, like everything. How often did that happen?
No, it was actually the opposite. They played up the opposite, which was Josh has never been so locked in on a season. He seems more focused for this elimination than he ever has. He seems confident in himself. And then it was just the same. It was like the exact, like, I know what you're saying because that's how they always hype it up.
Yeah.
But it was the exact opposite preview with the same exact fucking result of Josh losing.
Really? That's very surprising.
Family. He's never cared more. He wants to win this. He's going to win a challenge. He's going to win the whole thing. He's going to be a champ. This is his time. This is Brucey's time to shine. And then guess what? He's still the goof.
God, please tell me. I mean, I don't even know why I'm asking, but we all know. When did the tears come?
After elimination.
It wasn't during, though? It was.
I don't think it was during. I think it was in the confessional afterwards, but he couldn't talk.
Really? It was just like this, or like he was just like, this was supposed to be for my family and stuff like this, blah, 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 blah. And I let them down and, but you won't see the last of me kind of thing.
Yeah, and that was kind of all a slow progression just in terms of editing because it like clearly was the same confessional of Josh, like he knew that he had lost and everything. But as they like placed those little clips during the elimination, you slowly got to see more of like Josh tearing up and his eyes getting red of like, I'm so close to finishing this one out. Like, I know I can win. And then, like, while it was, a tie game, and then Kyle pulls it off, and then they cut to him again, and he's crying. So I think we'll have to go back. I think the line, whatever line we said, I think it was maybe 5.5 Josh cries for the season. Whatever it is, it's going to be pretty close. Like, I don't think it hammered it out of the water by any means. I think it's right around there. So we'll have to get our stat guys on that.
God, beep boop up.
But the elimination, I did like. Like I said, right at the beginning of the recap, I think it definitely picked it up a couple notches for the episode. I thought it was very intense. I mean, I actually think the editors, I think we complain a lot about like how they cut up the elimination sometimes, like particularly for hall brawls. I think tonight they actually did a good job where, and I say that because like every time one of them jumped, and I feel like it might have happened about an equal number of times, every time one of them jumped and missed the bell, I like sat up a little. I was like, oh shit, like it's getting close now. Like that just, somebody misses, it opens the door for the next person because it was so close the entire time. So I think they actually did a surprisingly good job at that. It was one of those eliminations where like it wasn't necessarily hard to like jump for the bell and then grab the thing, climb up the ladder and put it down, but it was hard to do that 16 times in a row while you have your competitor doing it right next to you. It was also like it reminded me of like some Mario Party mini games where it's like your initial instinct is to just go as fast as you can, but in reality you kind of have to like take a breath, like let Mario get his heart thing up a little bit, like get his breath up a little bit and then jump, and then like that's actually the quickest way to do it. Because you saw like if they kind of rushed themselves a little too much, that was when they were missing the bell, and then it cost them even more time. So it was almost like the better you pace yourself, the easier it's going to be for you. And I think the final score ended up being 16 planks to 15. Like I think it was as close as it could have been.
Closest elimination of all time? Did Teach say that?
He did not say that.
I feel like he hasn't said that in a couple episodes because like the challenge was something where there wasn't a time element to it. But if it wouldn't have been for the jump, I think they could have cut to TJ saying that easily.
So classic.
Yeah, my only complaint about the elimination is, and I have this complaint about a lot of eliminations, especially like when you have to put a pole in and climb up and hit the bell, like so many different variations of what we saw today. I would have loved it if you didn't have to do all 16 planks. Like if you had 16 planks, but you could space them out however you want, because that adds another level of like, are you going to play it safe? Are you going to try to like make a couple jumps? Like, how do you want to go about this? And it could end up biting you in the ass. So when he described it, I was like, oh man, like I hope that would be the case. And lo and behold, of course not.
That's a good point. And it just adds it would have added another element of strategy to it, as opposed to like they ended up doing the exact same thing because they had to. So Kyle wins. Josh goes home. The Goof goes home for his 5th season in a row. And then that leaves Kyle to choose a little team roundup here. So Kyle chooses to take Logan's spot. So now the green team, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the green team is now, because Josh went home, it's Devin, Manuel, Casey, Nani, and Amanda. So 5 people on the green team. The pink team is now Logan, Nelson, Big T, and Tori, 4 people. And then the blue team is CT, Kyle, and Amy, 3 people.
Correct.
Okay, so we have 6 guys left, 6 girls left. So I mean that was pretty much the episode, pretty straightforward. I think we got through that pretty quickly. Any other thoughts on the episode? I think, like we said before, it was good. It wasn't anything crazy or like there wasn't like a moment that popped off the screen. I think the challenge was good. The elimination was good. I think the fact that we like got through the recap really quick isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Let's. I'm gonna ask you one last question. We didn't touch on it just at the end there. What were your thoughts on Kyle's decision to go Sapphire?
Honestly, I feel like it's so late in the game that if I were him, I would want to go to whatever team I thought I had just had the best chance of winning a daily challenge. And when you go to a team with CT, I don't think that's ever a wrong move. Like, I feel like if this would have been 3 episodes ago, maybe you think a little more longer term. But, like, I mean, I could see the final starting in, I don't know, 2-3 eliminations from now. Like, I don't think he should have stayed with the pink team. And if he would have gone to the green team, I would have probably said the same thing. Like, I think those were his 2 best options. Being with CT, and they kind of showed it in one of the previews where it was like, CT and Kyle now have this big rivalry from tonight or whatever. Like, I don't think that can really carry over a whole lot longer. I think you're in the survive and advance mode and pair yourself with CT and do whatever you can.
My only frustration about that from Kyle's perspective is he's now outnumbered again. He's on a team with 3 going against a team with 4 and a team of 5. Like, and we've seen like the numbers help a lot for these dailies. So the fact that he like openly went to become outnumbered didn't make any sense to me. It seemed like a huge miss on his part. Whereas if he would have gone for Ruby, it would have been he would have had all the numbers backing him. Even though like at this point everyone in the house hates him. So like it's not like he has that. But if he went green, then he would have been with his quote unquote best friend, even though everyone's best friends in Devin, and he would have had the numbers. So like I personally thought going Sapphire was not the right move for him, even though I totally get where you're coming from.
So you're saying the best move would have gone to
Green.
which team? To green, yeah. Because he would have been with Devin, and at the same time, he was taking out Josh's spot. Like, because I feel like if, for example, he would have beat Manuel tonight and gone back to the green team or gone to the green team, I could very easily see a situation where like Devin's kind of in between Josh and Kyle and sides with Josh. Whereas like now, because he took out Devin's other best friend and Josh, like it would make it easier for them to kind of be the main 2 guys on that team.
And it seems like he has a relationship with Amanda too. So he could have been him, Devin, Amanda, Casey, Nani. Like what? Like I get wanting to be with CT, and Emmy's has completely backed herself and done well so far this season. But like, how could you not want to be on a team with the majority of the people and the only 2 people that you have a relationship with? Like I thought that was a huge miss.
Yeah, and I did also just want to bring up kind of a little bigger picture on the season, because I know we've joked about it before as like, like they always say like, oh, I want to run with the team that I'm on in the final and everything. And I know we joked and said like, there's no way that these 3 teams are what the final is going to be run by. I'm starting to get like to think that actually might be a possibility. That like in the final, there's going to be 3 teams. Maybe each team is only like 3 people max, like very small teams. But like, I don't know. I feel like that might be a possibility because, and I just say that because like, wouldn't it have to switch like very soon? And if it does switch, like how would they do it? Because right now we have 6 guys, 6 girls. Do you think maybe they do one more round of eliminations, knock off one more girl, one more guy, and just TJ, comes in dressing nice and says, you guys are going to the final?
I think so. I think we got 2 episodes of that. That would put us at what? December 1st would be that episode. Correct. We're 5v5 right now, right? Or right? What are we at? 6v5?
6 and 6.
6 and 6. That's what I meant. Sorry. So 2 eliminations, 5v5, 5 people running the final. Could we be 3 weeks out? I think realistically, I don't think they'll be in teams. I think once we get to whatever, let's say if it's 5v5 or 4v4 or 3v3 or whatever that number is, I think that will be kind of free agents-esque. They're on their own. And maybe honestly, it turns into like a free agent final where if there's 5 versus 5, you have to work with each of those persons per step or whatever. I don't know. Any thoughts?
We'll see.
All right. So, Trev, Andy, any last thoughts on the episode before we get into some segments?
Just a solid episode. Nothing too big.
I would say, like, if I were to think about what I thought about this episode, I would say it was just a solid episode. Nothing too big.
Is the delay that bad?
All right. Let's get into some segments. First one, this day in challenge history. We actually have 2 different things. The first thing is a not necessarily challenge related, but stir the pot related. I tweeted it this morning. This day in challenge history a year ago, the 3 of us actually did our first ever live YouTube podcast episode. It was a season preview for Double Agents, which was literally last season. That was a year ago.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You know what the crazy thing is, Alex? Sorry to interrupt here, but we have done. It feels like it's been a year. But this is episode. How many live episodes did we do for the other season? 22, correct?
I think so.
So if my math is correct, if my Kelly School of Business math is correct, 22 plus 14 equals 36. So 36 out of 52 weeks we've been live for.
Well, and add in a couple Mount Rushmores, things like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So 36 out of 52 weeks of this past year. I mean, come on. What off season? Well, let me clarify. Me and Alex have been around for at least 36 of 52. Andy, I think, is at 32. So let's just remember those numbers. So what else you got for us?
Yeah, we are actually close to our. We'll have to look at the YouTube and see when our 50th live stream is going to be. Maybe it's for the finale. But so that was the first This Day in Challenge history. The second part is a trivia question. It's a 2-parter for This Day in Challenge history on November 17th. The season was Cutthroat. It's going to be, so first question, just, say whatever you're thinking, chat, chime in if you guys have the answer. The first part is going to be
Emily.
On This Day in Challenge history, Dan lost an elimination to who in Cutthroat?
Dan?
Who?
He lost an elimination on Cutthroat, and I know your initial instinct is gonna be like, I have no fucking idea, but just think about the fact that it was late in Cutthroat, so like your guy pool was just like narrowed down a lot. It was because it was episode 7, but I mean these were the days when the challenge was 11 episodes long or whatever.
Jesus.
So episode 7, Dan lost an elimination. We'll see if Boogie's is on way on back in here. So who did he lose to?
Is it Brandon?
No, I think Brandon was eliminated by this point.
Oh, that was McCord's answer. I have no idea. Hand up. Idea. Yes. What about Brad?
The hint is he lost to somebody that eventually won the season.
Dunbar.
Yeah, Dunbar.
He doesn't.
All right, Boogie got that one. So Dan lost to Dunbar. And then for the girls' side, Laurel won the elimination against 2. Same elimination on Cutthroat, episode 7.
No idea.
Who did she beat? She beat a future challenge champion.
Camilla.
Yep.
Whoa.
Beat Camilla. And then Camilla, people forget, Camilla gave Laurel her first ever loss on Invasion.
Yes. Which is, talk about another season that just botched its format where you basically had the champs go against each other. And what was it? CT came out of it for the males, and then for the females, it was Camilla.
Yeah. And if like you said, they botched that. And if we would have been recapping that season live, we would have been like, what the fuck are they doing?
If it was that season we recorded live in Bloodlines, we would not be a thing anymore because we would have blown our faces off.
All right, so that was this day in challenge history. The next segment is pot stirring, where we kind of talk about everything that's going on in the challenge world at the time. I feel like this week we actually have a few things.
Whoa! We fucked up. Camilla didn't come out of the females. Boogie's right. Ashley did, right? No. Camilla came out of the champs. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
I'm an idiot. Ashley wasn't a champ then. Wow, crazy. It's almost like she has like a roller coaster career or something.
You know what's so classic about that too? Just take a trip back in the time machine. Is that as Invasion was going on, they started advertising for Champs vs. Pros, like the first spinoff that they did. But they never showed the full female cast. And it was because they couldn't spoil Ashley being a champion.
Oh, are you serious? Well, wait, Alex. Was that the season where they called anybody a champ? Or
no, it was before that. It was like the one season of the series where
they
like
actually had champs.
Yeah, it was like where they actually had champions. And so you would like kind of think about it because they said like, oh, Cara Maria's coming, whoever else is coming, and it's like 4 girls and 5 guys, and then you were like, who's the 5th girl? While Invasion was like 2 episodes away from the finale, and you're like, okay, I think there's going to be a new girl champion.
God, I'm just so you bring that back up, champs versus pros. The one thing that always like bothered me, and it just showed how bad it was towards the end of like season 3 or whatever it was, is the first season it would be like bananas, number of titles won, or whatever. It had like the lower third. It literally got to the point where it was like whoever it was, if it was like Anissa, it was like number of seasons competed or like number of daily challenges she won. It was never whatever. And I think the other thing it had for it too was like highest place they've ever finished, 3rd. Like it was like 3rd place. Oh yeah, congrats.
That was smirk.
God. All right. So what else you got for pot stirring?
All right. So for pot stirring, we have a few things. First thing, it looks like Amanda and Fezzy are back together. They were at the Broncos game together. I feel like maybe the first week we introduced this literal segment, we were saying like one of the news stories was that Fezzy was in Florida, out at the bars, hitting on the 6s, and then Amanda was tweeting about it, and fast forward a few weeks and they're back together.
Crazy. I thought for sure, once you go to those Clearwater Beach bars, you kind of get lost in the sauce, and Fezzy obviously got lost in the sauce down there, but Amanda's just, I don't know, no comment. I don't know what she's thinking.
And then did you guys see anybody in the chat see episode 1 of All Stars?
I did. And I know me and you, Alex, have been very high on, All Stars. And I kind of enjoyed the first EP. I don't know about you.
I liked it. The thing, like the type of episode that episode 1 was exactly like last season, where like they show all the old faces. It's kind of like less intense of an environment, but at the same time, they still are trying to win. The one thing that kind of soured me on the episode was the fact that we didn't get an elimination.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. But I do have to smirk that every spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, you can skip for the next 25 seconds, 30 seconds. Beep, boop, bop, beep, beep, beep. TJ yelling at the competitors for just going across, like, just basically crawling across and not running across. That was pretty smirk.
Yeah, there's a few of them that look pretty bad still, like Kendall, Melinda. There's a couple others. All right, but anyways, if you guys have seen All Stars, let us know what you think. And then we also had.
Sorry. Isn't it true that they're literally filming All Stars 3 already or something like that?
I think they maybe just started filming All Stars 3.
So are we actually going to get All Stars 3 before a new challenge season? Does that mean we actually might get a vacation?
No, they'll pump that thing out quick.
God, sounds quick.
No days off for most of us.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
All right. So our boy Jesse Adams also sent us an article. It was actually a Barstool article written by our boy Clem from No Quitters. Apparently, and I haven't read this, if Jesse's in the chat, let us know what we missed. But apparently, Nelson got punched in some sort of nightclub recently because he was flirting with a married man's wife. And
I mean, that is like spot on. Would not surprise me. He was probably trying to open a bottle of champagne or something and just couldn't do it, and maybe bumped into her, and that's how the talking started.
I think the article is actually from today, and I wish I would have seen the whole thing. But I'm glad that Jesse Adams sent it to us beforehand because I had not seen this yet. But yeah, apparently Nelson got knocked out in some sort of club, I think in Vegas, for flirting on somebody's wife. So that's that. And then last thing I wanted to bring up is basically there's this whole like Leroy thing going on. So I think what happened is a couple days ago, we all know what happened with Camilla and all her racist comments and everything. Apparently Camilla posted like a video the other day on social media that was some sort of like drunken crying rant about like, how she's bettered herself since then. And she said that she's taken like anti-racism classes since then and all of this different stuff. And I guess that prompted Leroy to post a video, I think today or yesterday, about like that whole event. Like, I guess going into more details. And again, I haven't watched this video, so if anybody knows anything that we're missing, let us know. But apparently Leroy posted like a genuine, heartfelt video about what he went through and everything. And what I was kind of confused about, just kind of separate, but what I was kind of confused about was tonight, as the challenge was coming on, the challenge Twitter was not tweeting anything. Usually they're like live tweeting the episode, promoting it and all that. And they weren't like sending out any tweets. They hadn't sent out any tweets from like, at least for the past couple of days. And then they sent one the middle of the episode, and it was basically like a little thread about like how they, are sorry for Leroy and they kind of like fucked it up the first time and all of this. And the challenge Twitter didn't say anything else about the episode. It was literally like the episode tonight didn't happen. They were only like replying to Leroy's thing. But I mean, that was just like a thing that happened. Is basically Camilla, I guess, is back trying to get potentially maybe back on the challenge by posting all these videos. And Leroy posted, a kind of semi-response to it. I haven't watched it yet, but I will, because I think, Leroy's the man, and the way he handled all of that was awesome. I kind of feel like I'm rambling now, but I feel like that was another thing that happened that I think we're probably going to watch after we finish this recap, is the whole Leroy, thing that literally MTV and Buna Murray responded to it tonight. So
yeah, and that's what I was looking. If you were wondering why I was looking down, I was looking at the tweet, reading all that. Also, another thing, Simone commented on that post, and she wrote, and I quote, "How convenient. I have yet to receive an apology. Mind you, I spoke on my experience in the situation in the video I did over a year ago, and it went completely unnoticed. But okay, challenge MTV, shake my head."
Whoa.
Wasn't Simone the one with Tony's brother?
Yes, I believe so.
Where they had the cameras off.
Correct. And like, that's why I'm surprised. Like, I don't know. I just feel like how much, with what you saw with D, what you saw, moving forward, like, I guess it didn't even come to my mind. Like, they kind of addressed it really fast. But they didn't even address it like on MTV. It was more behind the scenes. Like, I remember Leroy, or how did this story of Camilla and Leroy actually get broken? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, initially, because when we were watching it live, didn't they just mention it? It was more things after the fact. Like when we were watching it live, like Leroy was tweeting. They didn't say anything during the episode, right?
They said like, Yeah, you're right. I think like they basically played it up as like just another drunk Camilla meltdown.
Yeah, they completely swept it under the floor, and then the only reason why it got brought to the attention and it wasn't that big was when Leroy said something, and I think that was the trigger. And then MTV's like, "Oh fuck, we got to do something." And it's just crazy that still to this day, I mean, obviously Leroy being pissed and stuff like that. It's just you don't want to burn a bridge. And is it too late? I think so, but it is what it is. And Camilla won't be back, and hopefully Leroy will be back, but I don't think he will. So MVP LVP time.
Let's do it.
All right. You guys know what to do. MVP, LVP time. God, I can't speak. I'll let you guys. I'll go last for each because I have bullshit. Can't really say much. So I'll let whoever, Andy or Alex, go first, and I'll go last for MVP. And you guys already know my LVP, so I'll just go first. If that's all right with y'all.
Sure.
Dot.
Trev, you already gave your LVP. You want to just give us your MVP?
Yeah, my MVP for tonight is going to be Alex and Andy for being live, being locked in, and giving a good podcast. So the two-man crew of Alex and Andy are my MVP. And I also want to give a side MVP if possible. I actually don't know. This could be an MVP or an LVP. Side note. How did the STP bet of the night or whatever we call it go tonight? Because I have no idea what it even is. It's the Hoosiers minus what? 4.5, 6
minus 5.
Minus 5.5. So currently the STP bet of the night 2-0 currently is on a great path.
We're on pace to be 3-0, baby.
On pace to be 3-0. So hopefully, don't want to jinx it or anything, but maybe another side MVP. So with that being said, it looks like the first one was Alex, Andy, so that's going to be tonight's order. Alex first for MVP, Andy second. Yeah.
I'm actually I wish I was second because I'm in between two people, and if Andy doesn't pick the other one, obviously I'll mention it in honorable mentions. Because I'm torn, I'm just gonna pick what my gut is saying, and I'm gonna go MVP episode 15 with Kyle. And I don't want to ruin why I'm not picking my other person, but I'm picking Kyle. He's definitely in consideration just because he literally, he said at least a few times, the nobody in the stands was cheering for him. They were all rooting for Josh, whether it was because they were like friends with him initially and like in his alliance, or because Kyle kind of screwed them in the challenge, whatnot. Like everybody was rooting for Josh to win that, and Kyle won. And like whenever something like that happens, even if it would have been the other way around, like if everybody would have been rooting for Kyle and Josh won, I might have gone Josh. Like I like when somebody who just doesn't have any support pulls it out, especially when it's like a vet like Kyle. I think we talked about before, like the male cast at this point is just very weak. And I'm not saying Kyle is, the best guy here, or the second best guy here, but like he is a male veteran, and there's just not a whole lot of them left anymore. And he's now, I think, 2-0 this season. I think this is his second elimination win. He's got a pretty good just challenge resume overall, final eliminations. So I'm going MVP tonight, Kyle. I think he just had a good night.
Love the pick. Kyle had a great episode. My MVP for tonight is going to be the alien, Emmy.
Yep.
She had a great episode. She called it out early on. I mean, she literally asked Mr. TJ, what am I going to do? I'm 1 against 5. And he said, that's your problem. And she said, you know what? You're right. It is my problem. I got to play the hand I'm dealt. And what does she do? She fucking wins it. I mean, and granted, there were alliances and side things going on, but she had to make every single run for the blue team, for the girls, on her own, probably got hit a bunch, was running back and forth, pulled out the win. I loved it. She looked phenomenal. Emmy is shaping up to be in high contention for Rookie of the Year in my mind. And this episode further proved that. And I think she did great. So my MVP for tonight's going to be Emmy, the alien wolf.
Wow.
That's who I was between. It's a great pick.
All right, so I'll start with my LVP as well. I didn't think I was going to get the chance to do this again for like the 5th time this season. But my LVP for tonight is going to be that motherfucker from the University of Tennessee, Fezzy. He somehow managed to not be a part of one elimination. Well, I guess actually he got the boot because he can't even get himself to an elimination. But the fact that he was part of tonight's elimination and his face got sent home twice this year, that is just incredible. Chattanooga. So Trev, and for anyone else who missed the elimination itself, Josh, in preparation for potentially going into the elimination, put on his Fezzy socks. What are Fezzy socks, you might ask? This fucking loser who's an introvert and is humble got socks made of himself with his face on it from the elimination that he beat Kyle, where Kyle got DQ'd because he was hurt. So because of that, Fezzy, in all of his humility, got socks made of himself, brought them on to the show. Lord knows how many times he wore them, probably every day. And then when he got kicked off for hitting Josh in the face, he gives Josh those socks as if Josh was Lil Bow Wow from Like Mike and said, here you go, Josh. Whenever you need these, throw these on, and they'll give you my athleticism to be able to make about 3 catches in 3 seasons at University of Tennessee. This is what you need. This will give you that extra oomph to get over the finish line and to make yourself a challenge champion. Well, what happens? Josh puts on the socks and he loses to Kyle. I mean, I can't get over Fezzy. And I don't think Fezzy can get over Fezzy. He literally thinks he's God's gift to the world, and he thinks that his gift to Josh of these socks with his face on it is going to do anything, and Josh goes home. Could not have been better. Could not have worked out more perfectly. Fezzy's an idiot. He's in love with himself, and he's now part of elimination. He got kicked off twice this season. That's impressive. So my LVP for tonight is going to be Fezzy.
So I was gonna ask you guys this because as I was giving my MVP pick, I saw some comments in the chat about the Fezzy socks. I must have personally completely missed this part. I did not see the socks.
You missed the socks?
I think I missed the socks. Was it like as they were doing like the classic like pack your bags, Josh getting dressed like for the elimination?
Yes, and
there
Josh
was
pulls out
actually
the
Fezzy's face on the socks.
His face with the helmet that they wear for Hall Brawl. Fezzy's dumb face on socks. I mean, those things I don't even want to say should be burned. Whoever was in charge and whoever got paid to make those socks should have sent them back and said, no, I can't do this. I don't care if I'm taking your money. I can't do this.
Damn it.
I just want to say one thing to Andy. Since he's been eliminated twice now, like you said, correct?
Twice.
Does this change? Does this change his order then? If he's been eliminated twice, does it change? Because you had him eliminated, the first guy eliminated, but technically now he's eliminated what episode?
No, it's just his dumb face got eliminated twice. If the Sox won, the Sox actually would not have been eligible for the money. So it was just the fact that his dumb face got eliminated twice.
Okay, gotcha. Sounds good.
All right, so your LVP was Fezzy. Good pick. I'm gonna have to just fucking rewind and watch that Sox scene. I'm mad that I missed it. So my LVP for tonight's episode.
Wait. Before you say it, I gotta say one thing about Mikey the Doctor here. At the end of the day, and I think what Andy was going for with the Sox is who's paying for this shit. I mean, who actually? It almost gives me the vibe of like those Scott Yeager T-shirts that are like some of the most like whoever comes up with those designs, like you should literally just quit your job if you came up with those designs. Please, I wish I was in control right now because I would pull up every fucking design on that website, challengemania.com, which are some of the worst designs you've ever seen ever. Sorry, Alex, I cut you off right there. But I had to say the who's paying for this shit.
Well, but Trev, at least like you could listen to some of their recaps for free, right?
I think they're like no, Alex, they're not free. I think it's a small charge of about $99.99 for a month. So like it's not too bad. It's only $100 a month. So it's like paying for cable TV. So you'll be good. Challenge Mania cable. Yeah, we'll raise it.
All right.
Actually, one last thing about Challenge Mania. Isn't there some fucking like VIP program, Alex, that costs literally like $1,500 a month or something, like the VIP exclusive or
it's like
I obviously like the $99.99 stuff. I'm obviously kidding, but this I'm actually serious about. What's the actual VIP prices?
I think there's a way that you can
Oh my god.
I think there's oh fuck, wait. There's the big T-shirt.
Oh my god.
I think there's a way that you can pay $500 to listen to their little recaps or whatever.
I mean,
I'm trying to look for one of the ones that like have their face on it.
At the end of the day, the number one question we should be asking ourselves: who's paying for this shit? Like, I would love to see the numbers. Like, what are those right there? Like, you can't tell me in the summer, like you're just going to a barbecue picnic or something, and some person is wearing that shirt. Are you kidding me?
Did you? Was that the Darrell one?
Yes. God, Terrell. I don't even want to know what else they have. The heel world. I mean,
all right, we might do a deep dive in one of our off-season pods, but
God, it would be a shame if that gets brought up next Wednesday and a little housekeep. Oh, you haven't even given MVP yet. Wait, have you?
I haven't given LVP yet.
LVP, sorry, that's what I meant. All right, give your LVP.
All
and
right.
then we'll
my LVP for tonight is going to be Devin. He's just kind of pissed me off the past couple episodes. He basically, I felt honestly bad for Tori in a sense tonight, where like Tori was trying to help her team, the team that she's literally on, and trying to help win, do whatever she thought was best for them, only to come home to the house to have Devin scold her, and just I don't know, it just pissed me off. Obviously, he lost his friend and Josh, and kept his other friend Kyle there. I just think it's been a bad couple weeks for Devin.
I love that pick. I couldn't agree more. I mean, he was being a little bitch. And I think the thing is, and we talked about this earlier, of like everyone is just so emotional and so like gets butthurt about the smallest things if things don't go their way. And I think it's all stemming from the green team, more specifically from fucking Big Brother. Like all of these people that are just so emotional and, oh my gosh, so-and-so didn't want me to win. Like, I hate them. Like, it's so annoying. And I think the fact that Devin is in this vacuum now with the Goof and Casey, it's just rubbing off on him because that was not the Devin of the past, 4 seasons. Like, Devin always has his head screwed on straight, and now he's just acting like a little bitch. And I have no other fingers to point to other than the green team, specifically Big Brother.
Mm-hmm. Devin has been looking for anybody that he can blame.
Yeah.
When he's in a good spot, so just shut up, keep your mouth shut, and keep the people close to you. You don't have to go off on everybody just to I don't know, make a stamp on the episode. Yeah, so he's my LVP.
Gotcha. Well, anything else? Any other housekeeping notes from y'all? Seemed like overall tonight was just a solid episode. Can't really say much more.
Yeah, I would
But,
say it's a solid episode. Can't say much more. It was overall pretty good. I think we had a good recap here. A lot of just challenge stuff to talk about. And we're getting fucking close to the finale, I think.
yeah, I first off just saying out loud to all y'all, how the fuck is there an episode next week? The day before Thanksgiving, but you know what? We'll be live, and let's just say it might be a little off the rails because let's just say it might be all in person. So we'll just leave it at that, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday. All of us will be hopefully watch the whole episode and hopefully not passed out or anything. So thank you guys for listening to a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I've been your host, Trevor. You can follow us on Twitter at Stir the Pod. You can also follow us on Instagram at Stir_the_pod. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Shout out Duffy. Bye-bye.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.